Okay, so first and foremost, Joey was denied his appeal, his waiver appeal. I said at the beginning, and make sure I don't want to get misquoted here, I've never been in favor of the transfer and not sit out rule. I've never been in favor of the portal. I think you're seeing so many guys go into that portal, and you know, just think about this as a parent, as a friend. You know, if someone's going to make a big decision in their life, they're wanting to talk to somebody who's an expert in that field. And we got people now making decisions, not talking to experts in that field. I mean, for coaches not be able to talk to a player about it is almost insane to me. And yet, I don't think guys should be able to just go freely, because I think it's going to hurt the guys in the end. But in saying that, Joey didn't come here because he thought he was going to play right away. There was not even any talk about that. But as waivers started to pile up as the summer went on, Joey and his family felt they had a strong case. I don't really appreciate when some people are getting waivers and other people aren't. And all the research I've seen, the consistency and the guidelines for this seem absurd. There's arbitrary decisions being made. And what bothers me the most is they're being made by individuals who don't really understand what's going on in our game and aren't around the student athletes on a daily basis. These committees, panels, cabinets, all these different terms that are used. I'm sure there's a lot of good people on them, but there's not people that are dealing with these kids on a daily basis. I've said a million times, and I will continue to say it. I'm always curious that when there's an athletic decision to be made, we have it made by faculty and different people. When there's an academic decision to be made, we have it made by the academicians. And that's where I have a big problem with what's gone on in the NCAA. I can't get into specifics, but in looking at the way waivers were approved and denied and studying like I have, the old standard of one or two reasons has just blown up. Joey did have a strong case, and I'm devastated, if you want the truth. I did not think anything of it in August, because we weren't going to do anything. And then when the family brought up that it's going on different places, and seeing what was going on and talking to some coaches, I'm devastated that he'll have to sit out his second season in 3 years, because he did go to school early. But I do believe that we have a tight team, and we're going to get through it. And he's going to get through it. Last night, I made a decision for the first time in my 25 years that because of Judd Heathcote, I was taught to care about the game, the team. I was on boards, I was on panels, I was on all those things that matter to try to help the game become successful. That ended last night. I always tried to be a good soldier. They lost a good soldier. I do not agree with what was going on. I'm tired of beating my head against the wall to try to have other people tell me what's going on in my profession. So today, like I said, the NABC, which I have so much respect for Jim Haney and the job he's done. I've been on that board for almost 18 years. I believe in the coaches, I believe in everybody there, but I just don't believe that I want to be dealing with these problems and feel like you're hitting your head against the wall. as far as the NCAA and their committees, they got to do what they got to do. What Tom Izzo's going to do from here on out is he's going to worry about his team, his family, his Spartan family, and if there's an apology to be made, I'll make it. That I'm not going to worry about everybody else right now. It's not going to be selfish. I'm going to worry about my players. I'm going to worry about my university. But I am very, very disappointed in the outcome. I'm very disappointed in the way it's gone. I'm almost sick of it. And I will deal with it. I will answer some questions, and then I'm putting it to bed. You won't hear much from me on anything involving that organization again. Yes, sir.
So, 2 questions. When you say that they lost a good soldier, what does that mean?
That means I was a guy that battled with them every day. I did everything I could do. I think at the end of the day, I gave more than I took. And I gave my time, my energy. I stayed on the board longer than most on the NABC board. I've done some things with the NCAA for different presidents. I respect that there are some good people everywhere. I just think things have gotten crazy because we're letting too many people outside. I mean, you have a committee. I don't think there's a coach on the committee. I mean, I don't know all that, but where in anybody's profession would that happen? Well, it's because I guess people don't trust coaches. Well, there's a lot of coaches I trust, and I'm sick of people acting like our profession. We got some bad characters in our profession. So do you, so do the universities, so do the politicians. I mean, it's everywhere. Everybody's got some. But the majority of people, there's coaching decisions and player decisions. There's no faculty, staff, administrator that spends more time with a player than a coach. And so I think there's a lot of pretty good soldiers out there, but not everybody gives their time to the profession in a way of being on these committees. I did, so that's why I say I was a good soldier.
And as much as you can you explain kind of the mechanics of the process of the appeal, deny, appeal, deny, appeal, deny, and then what led to the final decision and what you were told in terms of why?
Yeah, I'm not hiding it. The process is kind of strange. There's people all over the country that are in different places that are on this panel committee, membership committee, and you send in a letter, which, we're talking about a kid's livelihood, talking about a kid who could be a professional basketball player, and the rules are just changing and revolving and moving. It's like a moving scale, and there has been no problem. Like I said, emphasize, I do not agree with it because I think it's going to hurt the players at the end of the day. But I do not want to play against teams that have had players come there for reasons. There's been some bizarre ones, and so we appealed it once. Got a no. I guess it's somewhat common. Appealed it again, and then we had a telephone interview. And in my humble opinion, the decision was probably made in the first appeal, and because I can't get into the specifics of everything. I apologize for that. But some of the answers I got, I vehemently disagree with. And as I don't feel sorry for me or our team, because we didn't get Joey here thinking he was going to play on this team. But when I see what he's gone through, what is going on around the country, you can't give a ticket to Hondo for going 70 and a 35 and not give one to Matt, who's going 70 and a 35. I mean, there are extenuating circumstances on these waivers, I understand that, but when I read and get things like 100-mile radius and then, what's that got to do with anything? You know, we made a mockery of it, and we opened Pandora's box, and maybe it'll never be shut, just that it won't be my worry anymore. I'm going to do my job with my team and my university.
I know that NABC position is something that you valued for a long time, I guess. How difficult was that call, and when did you decide this is what I need to do?
Well, it was difficult, you're right. The NABC is very important to me. It was thrown on me for 20 years with Judd Heathcote, Gene Cady, I mean, the guys that I respected in the profession. I mean, when I called Judd and said I've been invited to be on the board, I mean, he was mad at me that I didn't finish it by saying I've already accepted. I just called him to get his thoughts on what it would be, and he said, "Are you crazy? That's the greatest honor you can have, serving the profession you love." And so I called Jim Haney last night, and Jim Haney's done a lot for me. He's done a lot for coaches. And I got some great friends on the board. You know, Phil Martelli right over here in Michigan is a really good friend of mine, and gotten to be good friends on the board. You know, John Calipari. It's funny because all the competitiveness, and but he's on the board now, and I've lost a lot of good friends that were on the board, and when their time was up, they left. And so it was a tough call, and I made it immediately. But I didn't make it off the cuff. I had thought about things that I do and don't like about my profession, and not making a stand. And they'll get another good person in there, or a better person in there. But it wasn't fun. It wasn't easy. It was just something that I felt I had to do, and it wasn't in protest of anything. It was more that I just don't want to put myself in a position to have to be dealing with things that I think are questions are being answered by people who don't know. You know, I say again, when there's an athletic problem, it seems like everybody else makes the decision. When there's an academic problem, nobody ever has come to me and asked me for my 2 cents on it. I'm confused by that. I mean, just like I'm confused if a kid's going to transfer. I mean, have I talked a couple kids into not? I've already publicly stated Morris Peterson, you know, who I think would have transferred 16 times his first year, and ironically, but by the time I got back from Maui, when I didn't take him, he'd have probably been out of here in the new rules. But when you sit down with a kid and you care about a kid, and you're kind of the expert, and you talk to him, and you bring his parents in and you talk to him, and guess what? When Draymond's banner goes up, because Draymond probably would have transferred, he wasn't happy not playing that many minutes. We'll have 2 incredible banners up here, that kids that fought through something, withstood the pressure, listened to their coach, their parents. I mean, what a great thing to do, you know? And if one of those guys really wanted to transfer, like Mojo did, you know, he transferred. I've helped him get 2 jobs since. You know, people have this poor impression of what a coach is. If you only knew how much time we spent. And so if the coach can't talk to the kid when he transfers, because of this famous portal, who's talking to him? Who's talking to him? I mean, think about that. Somebody off the street is talking to a kid about changing his whole life. And you wonder why I'm damn mad about it? I am. I am.
Tom, we've
One last one here that will...
Go to the round table where we can have more fun.
Tom, you've talked, and everyone has talked about players changing. You mentioned players used to be going to Maui was a big deal. Now it's not. Social media is changing the game. We've talked about all those things hurting the game. Is the bureaucracy of the NCAA also hurting the game?
Well, as with all the different things I've gone through in the last few years, I have friends at different entities. I have friends in the media. I have friends on TV. I have friends in the NCAA. I really do. I think what happens when too many people that don't work on something on a daily basis, you know, I get mad at you guys all the time. I really do. But what I love about most of you guys is I can pick up the phone and call you and talk through it and explain maybe my side of things, maybe a player's side of things, and you can explain your side of things, and there's good conversation. I didn't even get the decency of a conversation, really. And I think that's what's wrong, you know. I think we, as I said, we got a lot of people making decisions that it's not their field of expertise. And, you know, when Jed told me on his parting ways, walking out of that room right next door, throwing me his key and saluting, and one of his was, remember, those explicit statements of what a media member is, those SOBs, they got a job to do, family to feed, and a boss to please. And I've remembered that my entire life. You know, coaches got a family to feed, a boss to please, and a job to do too. And it's kind of funny how everybody thinks they're the coach, and everybody's got the opinions of what a coach should do or what a player should do that a coach works with for 50 days, some guys for 200 days. And make sure you know, so the pundits out there don't attack me. There's nothing wrong with a kid transferring if that's what he believes he should do. But I ask you to remember what I said to you, because it's going to come back. And I probably won't be here then, but it's going to come back to you. So many kids, I mean, every one of you wanted to leave your job. Every guy in here. Matt Larson, we talk a lot. You know, Mex, you know, has gone through it. Hey, you don't think there's days I want to leave my job? And you know what you do? You go to talk to people that are in the same profession. You call up a coach, call Mooch. I call one of you guys that matters, that I think has been through everything with me, and you figure out how to fight your way through your problems. We're teaching people to figure out how to say, I'm out of here, and then figure out later, ooh, I might have made the wrong decision. That to me is sad. That's not the player's fault. That's our fault. So I'm going to leave it at that, because I'm already probably going to get killed. And so I'm going to go back there, and it is off the record. And we can have some fun for a half hour. How's that?